After surviving in crypto for the past 8 years and increasing my net worth 100x every single cycle, the biggest portfolio killer I've seen is people ignoring price scenarios that they don't want to happen. A dip to 44k is a possibility you need to prepare for, and it's not even that bad of a dip, especially when we compare it to mid-bull market dips we've seen in the past. If we look back at all of Bitcoin's previous bull runs, they all had mid-bull run crashes, and although they don't look scary, trust me, they were. I was around. This dip from 2016 doesn't look that bad, but in actuality, Bitcoin went down 40%. All the way up the 2017 bull run, we also had many more dips. We had a 36% dip here, another 32% dip, two more 40% dips. This one from 2021 was a 30% dip. Taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, if we are to repeat history and get a standard scary dip to the downside, logically, the only real area of horizontal support I see is here at around the 44k region, which is where we consolidated for a while at the start of the year. The entire drawdown to this region from all-time highs is only like a 40% dip from all-time highs, which historically is pretty standard for a mid-bull market dip. On top of all of this, September is historically the worst month for Bitcoin, with the majority of Septembers being down months, so if we do get a scary dip, September is likely the month to do it. Now, if we do reach down to the 44k region, it's going to be scary. Many people will capitulate, and it's truly going to look like it's over, which is why we need to zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and just remind ourselves of all the factors coming together, making an all-time high break still likely later this year, even if we do get a standard 40% bull market dip here. So the stock market is still marching up, which is a great sign for Bitcoin, as Bitcoin and stocks have been incredibly correlated with each other. We can see Bitcoin very obviously following the stock market since way back in 2016. And it makes complete sense. Bitcoin, if you think about it, is the exact same thing as just a tech stock. So when the overall stock market is looking good and people are willing to buy and speculate on stocks, then they're also more likely to speculate on other types of assets like Bitcoin. Now, there's no reason why this correlation should randomly decide to stop, but if we do compare both the S&P 500 and Bitcoin charts, the S&P 500 has continued pushing to new all-time highs over the past few months, whereas Bitcoin has consolidated sideways. The logical outcome here is that Bitcoin is about to play catch up in a massive way and is about to explode to the upside past all-time highs, just like it has done for all the years prior. So even if we do get this dip down to the next major area of support at 44k, this is a dip I would buy the fuck out of, guys, if I'm just being real, especially if the stock market is still climbing higher. Global liquidity is another great macro indicator that has been correlated to Bitcoin, and in fact, for every 10% increase in global liquidity, Bitcoin's price moves up 90% on average. And since June, which was a local bottom for Bitcoin, global liquidity has moved 5%. Now, global liquidity has also been in a longer term downwards trend that may be coming to an end soon, as the US is cutting interest rates starting in September, which is one of the biggest factors for increasing global liquidity. Interest rates have been historically inversely correlated to global liquidity due to the fact that lower interest rates means more people are more inclined to borrow, which leads to more global liquidity. So over the coming months, we're about to enter a period of falling interest rates, which could finally mean a breakout for global liquidity and it's starting to rise again, all of which are historically great things for Bitcoin. Combine that with the S&P 500 still increasing and the fact that many of my long-term Bitcoin indicators I've talked about in my last video, such as the 4-year cycle chart, which shows the price action of Bitcoin after every Bitcoin halving, is also still bullish, with us being this black line and us being on the verge of following all the previous cycles up in price from here. Like, everything is still long-term bullish. Now, yes, there is a chance we could get a bad recession that could mess all of this up, but in my opinion, the more likely scenario based on all of these indicators is for Bitcoin to remain in a bull market long-term and for the price to keep increasing long-term. Now, I talked about the quick cycle scenario in my last video where we reverse up from here, which is also still a real possibility. Once again, the S&P 500 is still way above Bitcoin structurally. Global liquidity is still going up. Those are all, once again, big factors that could push the price up. But the aim of the game I found after being in this market for 8 years, I'll be real with you, isn't to try and predict exactly what Bitcoin is going to do. It's about determining whether or not we're in a longer term overall bull bull market or bear market, and then just determining, okay, what are the overall most likely scenarios to happen and just preparing for them. So I believe the straight up scenario I discussed in my last video and the one more leg down but then straight up after I discussed in this video, I believe these two scenarios are the most likely scenarios. I don't believe the bull run is over because the vast majority of my indicators, especially the Bitcoin ones, aren't telling me it's over, and I'll be ready and my portfolio won't die if we do get that dip down to 44k. You don't understand how many people I've seen get killed by chop, you know, especially in this 2019 region right here, and lose everything here right before the bull market came and right before the easiest period to make money in history happened. Don't die in the chop should be your number one goal. Prepare for the worst, and as long as you're still good and you survived for the actual bull run whenever it happens, that's where the 100x's are made longing altcoins. Bybit is where me and my team trade all these crypto moves. If you join using the link below, you'll be able to claim $30,000 in a bonus, which is huge, especially now whilst the market has been down. And if you want to see exactly what trades we're taking live and what altcoins we're in, be sure to join the K Crypto Hub. It's where me and my team dump all of our knowledge onto you, along with everything we're doing to try and extract as much profit from the market. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.